Michael Hernandez here of the 10-Second Mark and MLH Media, and we are here today with a very special guest, Dethrone's Chris Paez over here at the TechTronix HQ. How you doing today, my man?
Good, man. Just another day. Now getting ready for the 100 card. Big card coming up.
Yes,
Huge card.
very big card. Your last time over in the Gators cage was for the grappling match over against George Torres. Obviously, we've got to talk a little bit after that. You've been preparing a long time for this fight over here at 559 Fights 100, no matter who the opponent was. How did it feel when you got that message from your matchmaker saying, hey, we got a new opponent for you after, obviously, the original opponent, Mark Hernandez, wasn't able to come through? Was it like a blessing in disguise, or was there frustration? Tell us about the feelings you had.
Wasn't too much of, obviously it's a bummer. You're getting ready for one person, you're getting ready for the camp, however that goes. But over, my coach Mike Moreno and Russell, they both tell me, doesn't matter who's in front of you. The outcome should be the same, looking to get the dub. So, it sucked, but at least we got another opponent in there. His teammate stepped in, so just glad we got another body in there. That way, all this hard work isn't for nothing,
Yes, Matthew Martinez looking to hop in there on a 10 days notice and looking to face off against Chris Paez over here from Dethrone. Were you happy about the matchup? Were you like, hey, this is going to be a fun one? Because this is somebody that he likes to go wild. His nickname's the Wild Child, so definitely can be a very fun matchup for you.
Well, props to him for taking the fight on 10 days notice. A lot of people wouldn't, especially coming closer towards my amateur career here, getting a lot closer to the pros. It's going to be a fun matchup. Looking to get in there and get it done quick, though. Outcome want to keep the outcome the same, Get in there, handle business, come out, Like I said, props to him, but time to handle business when we get in there.
Yes, you always look to go in there and handle business no matter what it is. If it's grappling or if it's going in there and putting on those 4 to 6 ounce gloves, whatever people may be saying the sizes are nowadays. But, for you over here in the Gators cage, you have had quite the reputation for 559 fights. You've always been a guy that's been able to go in there and put on a show, put fans in the seats. And that was ever so present in January. On the 28th, you were fighting over against Martine Sandoval, who's now looking to go on a pro trajectory. Take us through that fight, because I feel like that's a fight that a lot of fans got to see, and the outcome, it may, people reading it, I feel like there may be a little bit misconstrued about how that fight went, because it was definitely one hell of a fight. I'd probably say one of the best championship fights, 559's fights.
We had a pretty good first round there. I felt like I controlled it. He had a couple of good strikes in. Coming out the gate, I had 2 really good, strong leg kicks, one that swept him off his feet. So, felt like I controlled the ground in the first round. So I'd say the first round was definitely mine, but then that weird little intermission happened where it was like that 10-minute gap because the paramedics had to leave due to an incident that happened. So that's never happened. So, they're telling me that the fight's over, we're going to have to reschedule, and they start taking my gloves off, and then they're all, hold up. Fight's on, and I'm like, whoa. So it was a little bit of a switch up that's never happened. Second round comes out. He comes out strong, comes out in the flurry, lands a few body punches, backs me up to the cage. I work off, throw a couple back, and I end up going for a lateral throw, and he stops it, lands on top, and I sweep him onto his back, start throwing punches, and big thing, my coach is always telling me, when you can walk up to someone, be careful, always hit first, because those up kicks. Got a little too excited, just got caught on the way in. So, sucks, but big takeaway.
How was the mental outlook after that? Because I know, obviously, going into a championship fight, these are things you prepare for. These are obviously huge moments. Was there kind of a moment where you were looking a little downward, or was it always just, hey, man, like, brush it off? Because like how you said, it's the amateurs, you got to look at it kind of as a keep on going trajectory.
Obviously, it's a bummer. I got so many fans, we're growing. Team Paez is growing. A lot of supporters, people that put work into me, whether it's in the gym, help me with sponsorships, mentally they just send me stuff on Instagram, social media, trying to keep me pumped up for the fight. It's people all from all around in all aspects that come and help. So this is a bummer on that aspect. I feel like I let them down, but, everyone loses. Everyone, in UFC, Bellator, one championship, everyone's lost.
Yeah.
So.
No, and I like that you have that outlook now, because obviously a lot of amateur guys, and especially now in this amateur scene where you see guys just stacking up belts and guys just going on these 13-0 runs in amateurs, it's oftentimes looked at as like, if you have any losses on this record, it's a blemish. But for you, a guy like Martine Sandoval, guy that's doing pretty well for himself, going to be fighting for A1 Combat, it's like, hey man, these are just strictly learning experiences. So very hats off to you, because you obviously fought not only one of the best fights I feel 559 has seen in a while, but one of the craziest circumstances, like how you said, because I don't feel like we're going to see that for quite a while, man. But for this upcoming fight, you've obviously had quite a lot of time to kind of prepare for 559 fights 100, maybe not in the sense of an opponent, but maybe more so in the sense of you knew you were coming in for a fight. Has there been one lesson that you've just really taken away from this training camp that's like instilled in you now as a fighter?
Stop looking so much like, we got to look at the bigger picture. So don't just like this opponent change. Doesn't matter who the opponent is. Like, if you focus on yourself and you really, really can look back at your training camp and be like, you know what, I would not change it. I wouldn't change nothing about it. So leave everything there, because, yeah, you're suffering during strength and conditioning, during sparring. You don't want to go. You're tired. You have work still, all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, it's all going to pay off. So just going out there and putting everything on the line, not just, at home, whether it's getting ready for meal preps or waking up to run, but at practice too, leaving everything out there, because doing everything right, prepping for the fight, if I'm 100% laying everything out there, the results will show.
Yes, I feel that the results have shown for you quite a lot of times in that 559 fights cage. You're looking to do a little bit of the same, and also you have a couple of teammates on that card looking to do a little bit of the same. One of them in particular in the 145-pound division, Joshua Simpson. Did you want to go into that relationship a little bit? Have you guys been working together a little bit, crafting together a game plan? Because obviously two huge fights for you guys going into 559 fights 100.
Oh yeah, no. Josh, really good buddy of mine. Obviously training partners, train every day. Always pushing each other to, I want him to get the belt. It comes back to Dethrone no matter what. At the end of the day, he was rooting for me in January. I'm going to be rooting for him right there, right by his side, right after my fight. We want to have a clean sweep that night to really show, keep Dethrone, we're here, we haven't gone nowhere, especially on the biggest card ever. So, he's going to go out there and he's going to put on a show and show you guys, just like me, all the hard work we've been putting in.
Yes, he was over there in Vegas with Sensei Mike, a couple of your other guys over for Dethrone for the IBJJF Worlds, and is that something you're looking to possibly compete in once you get to that age, once you get to that 30 threshold? You're looking to go ahead and come?
I actually, I've won Pan Ams and a couple of other IBJJF tournaments, so I've competed on the IBJJF scene. It's just been a while. Last time probably about a year ago, so. We have another IBJJF tournament in LA for the LA Open coming up, so I'll probably be out there in October.
Nice. And so for your career trajectory, I know obviously we're talking a little bit about grappling, we're talking a little bit about your teammates, but let's talk a little bit more about yourself, man. For your professional career, obviously that's something, I know you're a young guy, you're barely in your 20s, you have some big goals, but when are you looking to possibly hop into the professional scene? I know that is something that you have been eyeing for a while, and is a possibility that it happens in 2023, or were you looking for a possibility of 2024?
We'll be making the announcement end of this year.
End of this year?
This will be the last year of amateurs.
Very, very exciting.
It's been one hell of a journey so far in 559 fights. For Dethrone, I was their first amateur fighter out of Dethrone. For this new wave that we're bringing up with Coach Mike Moreno and all the other guys. Behind the Avalos brothers, who have been pro for quite a while now. Behind them, I came right behind them, and then we just built this big team we have now. So, yeah, for sure, me and a couple other guys will be making announcements pretty soon.
Are you going to possibly be looking to hop on that A1 Combat card? I know there was a card that they were looking to possibly dominate on November 4th, I believe, was going to be the date over at Tachi Palace. Is there a possibility that Chris Paez could be making a little surprise slot on there?
Well, yeah, we'll have to see and find out. No rush for anything right now, though. Like you said, just turned 21. I'm still young. There's no need to rush anything right now. Obviously, the goal is to be there, but make sure you want to do it right, because once you go pro, then that's when everything starts counting. Yes. So you want to make sure. I want to make sure I get that done right and really well prepared for that.
And that's when those losses, that how we were talking about earlier, those losses really start taking into account, and those matchmakers will definitely start looking at those paychecks and start trying to divvy up expenses. But just a little bit more, I really appreciate your time. Just a little bit more of a couple of questions for you today, Chris. Obviously, you know, you've had quite the runs over here in the amateurs. You got to fight for one of the best promotions over here in California for 559 fights. Is there any organization you're looking at for the professional scene that you're maybe like, ooh, that would be a ring I'm looking to go ahead and hop into? You know, you obviously have LFA, you got Uriah Faber's A1 Combat, you have obviously the UFC is the shining gem that everybody wants to get to, but is there any kind of regional scene promotions that you're looking to hop into?
You know, so there's so many nowadays, so many pro organizations coming out, so many new ones up and coming, you know. It'd be cool to be on the A1 and grab the A1 belt, but I'm open to anything. Anywhere that's going to get me to that Contender Series or the UFC, 'cause like you said, that's where everyone wants to be, you know. Everyone wants to be there. Everyone wants to be UFC champ. You know, one thing me and my coaches say is, stop saying you want. You're going to be there. You have to, like Connor says, you know, you have to self-actualize it. You have to, you know, you already did it. Now go out there and put the work and get in there. So anywhere that's going to get me there, you know, we're just going to take it one fight at a time, focus on what's happening in the here and now, and then whatever comes next is come next.
Yes, a little bit of that self-idealization, you know, putting yourself in that predicament to where you're going to come out and become that, you know. Like Sean O'Malley said, he was constantly saying, I'm going to be the UFC Bantamweight champion, I'm going to be the UFC Bantamweight champion. Even I had doubts about it, but you were somebody that had all the cards. You said, hey, man, I'm going to believe in my guy. And you even have a little bit of a picture to show for it. How does it feel for you to be a guy like that in the amateur scene, to be having interactions with guys that are obviously doing huge things in the professional scene? Does that motivate you, or like how exactly does it hit you in the brain? Because obviously some people get different feelings when they meet guys like that. It's oh my gosh, it's my idol. But for you, you're in the fight scene. So take us through that, meeting people that some people consider role models.
Yeah, I mean, it was a cool night. I got to meet him, you know, hung out with him. It was on my 21st birthday, actually.
Hell of a 21st.
Vegas, oh yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, that could be a potential guy I'm fighting, you know. Yeah. When I'm in the UFC, say he gets tired of 135, he's had his reign, you know, 4, 5, 6 years from now, he's still around. That could be a potential opponent if he were to move up, you know. Crazy things happen. Connor didn't think he was going to fight Aldo, and then look at that matchup. Yeah. That was someone he was eyeing for a while, just like Max Holloway had said too. That was someone he had watched coming up, and then he ends up fighting him. So very, very big possibility. Could be a potential opponent for me or my teammates. So at the end of the day, that could be my coworker / opponent, you know. So at the end of the day, we're all humans. We're all bleed, you know. So I don't like to put people on that pedestal and be like, and then get starstruck, because I got stuff I got to focus on for myself too, you know. I got goals to get there, so.
Yeah, I like that you touched on it like that, because oftentimes guys will meet guys like that and they're just so caught up in the moment, you know. And obviously for you, it was a huge moment. You're 21 years old, you see Suga Sean O'Malley. Some guys would flip out in the club, but even when you had first kind of told me about the interaction, I was like, man, you handled it so, you handled it a lot of ways that I don't think other young men would have handled it, which is obviously a big kudos to you, a big kudos to the whole Paez family for the way that they brought you up and the way that they kind of taught you how to be mindful of others and how to be mindful of your own goals, because like how you said, that could very much be an opponent in your future, man. But, you know, just for this last kind of segment here today for the 10-second mark, man, obviously very much appreciate your time today, getting to sit down and talk to you over here at the TechTronix HQ. Obviously an honor to be in the building with you, but you have a ton of love that we were talking about earlier. Sponsors, you got people that are just coming in from your shows from hours out, you know. I mean, obviously you get a lot of people in the building wherever you're at, the ballpark, the convention center. Is there any sponsors in particular that you wanted to thank for this training camp, or in general just for your amateur career, like how you said?
Thank all my sponsors, not just one in specific, you know. Stretch 360, TechTronix, Builder Cabinets Incorporated. You know, I have you on my shirt, MLH Media. You know, you're always supporting of everyone, not just me. It's support of all the fighters. Any Luxic View, Landco, Building Corp. I got a few more on there too. So all my sponsors, you know, they're not obligated to help me, but they all, you know, come together, and they're my sponsorship team. So big kudos to all my sponsors.
Yeah, no, when you had approached me with the opportunity to be on your shirt, I was like, what? I was like, that's crazy, man. I was like, but hey, you know, obviously it's pretty cool when you get fighters telling you, like how you said, obviously this is, for me, this is a dream to be able to talk to guys like you, to be able to let your message be shown out, and for people to get to hear you and for people to be able to humanize you is ultimately my job, is to make fighters be more human, and for everybody to see like, hey man, this guy Chris Paez is a pretty cool cat. I want to support his career and I want to follow him, you know? That is ultimately my goal with these videos, and ultimately got my goal with all these. So I appreciate you giving me that opportunity to be a slot on your shirt. Looking very much so to obviously see you go to that professional rank so we can see that MLH Media logo everywhere, man. But any last words that you have today for MLH Media, for just the world in general, man?
No, just thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it. Big shout out to my dad and uncle and my mom. You know, they're my biggest supporters. They've always been supportive of this dream of mine. Ever since I was little, running around 5, 6 years old saying, I'm going to fight. Ended up wrestling through high school and everything. Had a good run wrestling. And right out of high school, I started training in high school, actually.
Clovis North days, right?
Yeah. Came through, Mike Moreno swooped me up. Been with him ever since, you know. So they've always been supportive. Coach Mike, Coach Russell, Coach Drew, Coach Lamar, you know, all those guys. Man, they put in so much work, time, and effort into me. And not just me, our whole team. Big thank you to them. And then you guys better be at the show. If not, watch, because this is going to be the biggest show, and probably will be for a long, long time. And if you haven't got your tickets, get them on 559fights.com right now, because this show will sell out.
Tickets are selling fast, guys. Make sure that you guys are buying your tickets. If you guys are not hitting up Chris, if you guys aren't hitting up any other fighters you guys know on the card, make sure you guys are going on Eventbrite. Make sure you guys are going on 559 Fights. Any ways that you guys can get inside the building, inside the Visalia Convention Center on September 16th. You guys make sure you guys do that, because I promise you guys are not going to want to miss this event, man. It is going to be an absolute banger. Thank you so much for your time today, Chris. It was an absolute honor. Michael Hernandez here of MLH Media, and we are going to be signing out here at the TechTronix HQ with Chris Paez of Dethrone.